And so that was pretty much how the conversation with Harry and Larry went. End of the year 2019, they departed best of mates as before, and we're all set up for a successful 2020. But what happened in 2020? Well, as we know, 2020 was 2020. There were some huge changes. Uh, Along came a global pandemic, so COVID-19 caused many changes to happen in many different industries, sales absolutely being one of them. So it's interesting for us to hear how Harry and Larry had their conversation. Let's move on to March 2020. Harry meets Larry again. Harry starts off the conversation. Hey Larry, how you getting on? You look a bit stressed, mate. Well, of course I'm stressed. Haven't you been hit by all this upheaval, all these changes? COVID's a nightmare. I can't go and speak to any of my customers. I don't know what to do. I'm a little bit panicky, to be honest, because I can't really see the end of it. Yeah, no, I'm with you there, mate. It is weird. It's hard, but I'm doing just about okay. Really? What are you doing? Come on, let me in on the secret here. Tell me what are you doing that I should be thinking about? Well, remember I said I was going to have a look at virtual. I've started to get my head around that, and I'm really pleased I did, because as soon as we kind of hit those lockdowns and customers were saying they didn't want to see us, I was able to shift all my activity into being able to work like that. Really? Oh, I mean, I'm struggling because people aren't seeing me and I don't really know what to do. I'm trying calling people, but that's hard. As you know, I like to be in front of folk, and I'm finding it tough when I can't do it. Well, you can. If you think about it, by going virtual and using video conference, you are still in front of people. It's not the same though, is it? No, it is different, but let's think about some of the things that we can do. You can still talk to people, you can still see them, you can still share information. Actually, I'm finding that I'm very, very efficient with this because I can actually have more meetings now. People are also in a bit of a tailspin, and so they need our help. So I'm booking meetings to talk to people about how we can do this stuff, how we can help them, and how what we were doing before is probably going to be different now, but we've got their back with something that we can talk to them about. Hmm. Okay, that is something that I need to be understanding a bit better. Can you give me a little bit more information on it? Oh, I can. So, in short, because there's quite a lot to this, but in short, if you think about virtual selling as getting online with people and talking to them using the technology that's available. So phones, like you said, are still very much a way of working. You can still message people, still send emails, still use all those kind of things we were doing before. But a lot of people are jumping into doing virtual conferences. Yeah, I'm not sure I like them. I don't really understand them. Well, let me see if I can make it easy for you then. Think about the big five. There's five elements of things that if we can do these well virtually, we can actually have a pretty good meeting. Go on then, mate. What are these big five? Okay, so the big five, they are video, audio, having a decent background, having good lighting, and yourself. Okay, well, I need to know more because I need to get my head around this. So the video, this is about how you use your camera, how you position your head, how you can look at it to maintain eye contact, how you can make sure that you are projecting the right presence, so you're enhancing your body language so people can read what it is you're trying to say, and how you can look at what they're doing and read stuff back. So a little bit like we do face to face. Exactly like we do face to face, except you're doing it from a camera point of view rather than sat across the table. Okay. Give it a go, mate. It works. And what I would also suggest to you is to make sure you get your audio right. So what do you mean by that? Well, audio, you're going to be speaking on it, and people have got to hear you well. If they can't hear you, it's likely that people get frustrated because they won't be able to make sense of the stuff that you're saying. In fact, I did the training I took. They were talking about a study in Canada where they played the same audio to people, but they disrupted some of it. And the people who had the disrupted audio felt the person that they were speaking to was less credible. They didn't know as much. For real. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, apparently. And think about it. When you can't hear somebody, your brain has to work harder and you quickly turn off. Yeah, that's true. I do find that. So what do you do? Well, again, pretty simple. I just don't use a computer microphone. Yeah, I use, well, it depends. I sometimes use the stuff, the microphone, the headphones that came with my phone. But recently, I just invested in a decent headset because I know the microphone on there will make me sound better, and I want customers to hear me. I want them to not tune out. Oh, okay. So I've got to look good on camera, and I've got to sound good. Yeah, that's pretty much it so far. Okie dokie. What else do I need to know? Well, just think about how you're set up with your background. So again, people are going to see where you're sat, or indeed where you're stood, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So just think about what's going on behind you. Is it going to neat and tidy? Is it going to give a professional impression if you're going to use like your own natural background? Or are you going to use a virtual background? What's a virtual background? It's a background that the computer helps you generate. So you can put something behind you that isn't real, and it just looks as though that's where you're sat. Oh, like I was talking to a guy the other day and it looks as though he was in space. That's exactly it. Yeah, pretty much. I'm not sure I'd recommend sitting in space as a salesperson. It just looks a little bit stupid. Yeah, it was funny, but to be honest, I couldn't take him that serious. So what do you do? Me personally, I use a natural background, and I just make sure it's tidy. Yeah. There's nothing too distracting there. Certainly don't have people walking around in the background. But I do also make sure that I have good lighting. Lighting. Why do you need good lighting? Again, it goes back to what we were saying about video. People need to see you. People need to be able to read your facial expressions. So I bought one of those little ring light things that you see on the internet. It cost me about 20 quid. But it makes sure that people can see my face. I also make sure that if I'm sat with the window, the blinds open, that's not causing too much of brightness on one side of my face compared to the other. You're really thinking about this stuff, aren't you? Well, I am, because it makes a difference. And they're only little things, but they do start to stack up. Anyway, think about it. This is how we need to operate these days. This is us talking to our customers. If you were going out to a customer, you'd make sure your shoes are clean. You make sure that you look smart. You make sure you were tidy. You'd make sure that any kit you were going to show was working well. Of course, would. Goes without saying. It's the virtual equivalent, mate. That's what we're trying to do. Oh, right. Yeah, no. It makes sense. And so I'm also very aware about what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. When I first started it, I was probably a little bit like you in that, I'm not sure this would work. And I think that came across. However, I've seen that it does. And so I do treat these as proper meetings. It's the same as if I've got in a car, driven for 2 hours and gone to see the customer. Except the bonus is I've not driven for 2 hours. I can have more of these meetings. Okay. So what else do you do just to get yourself right? Well, I know they're important meetings, so I do the same drills. I'll send an agenda. I'll get myself dressed properly. So sure. I don't wear a tie now. It seems a bit weird sat at home wearing a tie, but I know some people that do. But no, I'll be smart and I'll be presentable, and I am ready to do the stuff that we do as professional salespeople. Yeah, I'm still a little bit circumspect. look, I can tell you what I do. I can tell you what's working. And so I can only encourage you to go and try, mate, because I can't see the end of this. Nah, we'll be out of lockdown soon. It won't be too bad. I'm not so sure. And anyway, I'm wondering whether customers are going to find that they like this a lot. I'm already hearing some customers saying actually they're finding this is a pretty cool way of collaborating. Well, how can they say that? You can't collaborate properly. How do you get around a whiteboard? Well, you can use whiteboards online, you know. What? Yeah, you can do a number of things to create a similar experience. So, I mean, I often just open a PowerPoint slide, a blank PowerPoint slide, and then I just type on that with that screen being shared so that people can see what it is that we're saying. You know, I'll keep a track of it. I'll bullet the main points of the meeting. Sometimes I'll kind of use the pen and annotate things. You what? Imagine it's like I draw on my own screen, and that people can see the stuff I'm drawing. Oh, doesn't that look a bit messy? Might look messy, but it's effective. Remember, people are visual animals. If they can see stuff, it'll help them understand it. It's back to the stuff that we were learning on the very first training we were speaking about at the end of last year. I guess so. And that's just the way I often do it. There are other things available. I mean, I've started having a bit of a play with more formal whiteboards. Now, if you're using Teams, Microsoft has got it built in, or you can open it and share it with anybody. And this is really cool and something I'm starting to do now, which is sending people a link to the whiteboard so they can draw on it at the same time. Hey, now you're losing me now. You're losing me. So I'll send a link to the whiteboard. They'll have it open. I'll have it open. We'll write on it, and what we're writing will both come up at the same time. So that does sound like when we're stood with a customer and we've got the flip chart, we've got the whiteboard, we've both got a pen in hand, and we're annotating stuff. It's exactly that. That's precisely what we're doing. And we can then take a screenshot, we can save that, and we can start to use that and send it in between the meetings to make sure we're doing a good job. Oh no, this is sounding a bit too complicated. Don't make it complicated. Don't run before you can walk, but just go back and think about how can I get better at just talking into a camera, talking to people. End of the day, it's people, and you're good at that, mate. How can you do that to be able to really still get that impact of what we're doing for professional salespeople? We're not taking that away. All the stuff we were talking about last time, that's still very much in play. We're just bringing another dynamic to how we need to do that. Oh, mate, it sounds as though you're really developing a lot. I bet you're doing other things as well, aren't you? As a matter of fact, I am. I've come across this concept of synchronous and asynchronous. Now you're talking psychobabble. No, I'm not. No, synchronous and asynchronous. It's about the stuff that we might do in a meeting and then the stuff that we're doing between meetings. Think of it like that. Yeah, okay. Now think about it. What would we do? In a meeting, we would discuss something. We'd ask people questions. We would want to get answers. Once we're out the meeting, we would send a follow-up. We would put together a document to help people understand what it is that we talked about and to keep the wholesale moving forward. Yeah, dead right. Well, that's not changed. But rather than just use the document, we can actually use video. What, like just record a video and send it? Exactly that. So you can do that on your phone. You've got a studio in your pocket, so you could just, talk to your phone and save the video, send it to people. There's other ways in which you can use technology to make that easier for you, but certainly that is something that will work pretty well. Customers like it. How do you know that? Told me. Honestly, they've told me. I've sent videos, and I even sent videos to people that I don't know. And what they've said is that they felt as though they were starting to know me already before I've even met them. I was starting to build the relationship. Is that right? Think about it. You see somebody, you look at their face, you start to understand them. They're saying something about you because they've done the research. And so they start to get that more warmer feeling. We can use technology to humanize the relationships, or technology doesn't dehumanize if we use it properly. Oh God, my head's starting to spin a little bit. Maybe, but it's definitely something that I would really encourage you to take on board. It's something that you'll find pretty useful in keeping modern and keeping in contact with the customers that I know you serve well. Well, I'm not sure I do at the moment because I'm not really talking to them. Exactly. Get yourself in front of them. Send them a video. Set up a meeting. Use Teams, use Zoom, use WebEx, use whatever. FaceTime them. Do something that just helps you keep in front of them and keep the conversations going. Because I know you do a good job, mate. I know you do. Whoa, a lot of stuff to think about. A lot of stuff to think about. Can I give you something else? What if I said no? Well, I'll do it anyway, because I'm doing it for your own good. Come on then, but keep it simple. Okie dokie. So, have you heard of the concept of social selling? Yeah, somebody used to take people out for a beer and a meal and all that. Can't do it anymore. All gone. Yeah, it's kind of that. But social selling, a lot of people are using this term to think about how we can use some, again, the technology in some of the social media platforms to engage people. Are you saying I've got to be mates with everybody on Facebook? No. Though, to be fair, if that's where they want to hang out, you might think about it. But I think in what we do, we're in B2B sales. So really, LinkedIn would be the platform that we would want to work at. I've got a LinkedIn profile. Okay, I know you do. I've seen it. But it doesn't look like you do anything. I don't really know what to say or do. I just put it there, but nothing seems to happen. You've got to make it happen. Well, how do I do that? So I learned this very simple model that I use. It just helps me think about what I'm going to do. There's lots of levels of complexity to this, but again, I like to keep stuff simple. You know that, mate. Well, yeah, because you are simple. Yeah, simple as a simple does and all that. But I use a thing called pen wop fop. Pop plop plop pot. No, pen wop fop. It was explained to me that actually this is an old FMCG or an FMCG model, fast moving consumer goods, and how people might want to sell those into a supermarket. And pen is about penetration. So it's about getting in there and having that presence, being on the shelf, people seeing it, understanding the product's available. WOP is about weight of purchase. So people buying more than one. You mean like the buy one, get one free thing? Exactly that. And FOP is frequency of purchase. So people buying stuff more often. Right, but what has that got to do with selling and using LinkedIn? It's just a way of thinking about how we can set ourselves up. So if you think of penetration being on the shelf, this is about our platform. So this is making sure that our LinkedIn profile looks really good. It's doing all the things just to make it stand out and to make the customer want to engage with us. So what do we need to do? Have a nice smiley picture. Well, funnily enough, picture is quite important. But having a professional picture of your face rather than the logo, because people buy from people and people want to see you. And then there's other things that you can do visually. Can you imagine your LinkedIn profile? Can you picture it? Can you see it in your mind? Yeah. Okay, so you've got that banner at the top. You know you can change that. Can you? What to? Well, you can put your own design in. You can put your own stuff in there. Put your company logo. You can put words. You can put things that immediately makes you stand out. It's a massive space. And remember we talked before about humans being very visual animals. They'll look at that and they can start to get an impression of you. So think about how you can change that. Okay, so pictures. It just pictures them. Sounds like Instagram. No, it's not just pictures. Think about the words. So think about, you've got your name, and below your name, you can have your job title. Or you might want to change that into a headline, into something that explains what you do. Well, like I help customers to buy things which saves them time and money. Exactly that. Yeah, that could be something that you put. Yeah, be a bit more specific about the type of customer, but yeah, that would be a good example of it because you've got a place to put your actual job and your title a bit further down. Okay, so I changed that. What else do I need to change? It sounds like I've got a big job here. Uh, it's not such a big job, but it's something that's worthwhile. It's something that you can certainly do, and it just has an ongoing effect. Yeah. And the bit that I picked up was in the summary, because the way I'd written mine, I was talking about how ace I was, as though I was wanting to get a new job. Do you want a new job? Not really. No, I'm happy with doing what we're doing. I'm finding actually our company's really supportive and they're helping us through these times. Don't you think? Uh, yeah, they do. But actually, what you're telling me is quite useful as well. Right. So the change I made in my summary was to put stuff that was customer centered. So rather than it being about me, I talked about how I can do things to help customers. I focused in on what I know customers' challenges are. I picked the two biggest and I called those out and then made a comment about how I can help with those. I want someone to read it and think, oh, this guy gets me. This guy gets what it is that we do. And it's someone I can work with. Ah, okay, I reckon I can do that. You could definitely do that. You could definitely do that. What else? In for a penny, in for a pound. I've got a lot of homework to do here. Yeah. But again, it's only stuff that when you've done it, it's there. And I think actually this next bit you've got pretty much sorted, which is the whole of your experience. There's the whole of your CV in there. Yeah, I've kept that pretty much up to date. I mean, I've been in this company 10 years. I've had 3 jobs and I've always changed those. Spot on. That's good. Do you mention what you've done in those jobs? What they were about? Nah, just put the title. Pop a little stuff in there about what you've done in them, a couple of achievements. Don't make it too big. It's not so relevant now, but it's a chance just to show what you bring to the party. Okay. Anything else? Do your customers like you? Yeah. Stupid question. How do I know that? Well, you know that because I've told you. No, I'm not. Uh, I'm not asking you because I'm challenging you, but I can't see that on your profile. What you can do is you can go and you can get people to recommend you. So ask the people that would say that you're a good guy. And then I know you are, and just get them to fill in a recommendation. Remember, people like to see that there's some element of proof around what you're saying. And if other people are saying it, that's a very strong element of how people make decisions and how they think. Okay, I reckon I know a few people who could help with that. Go for it. Go for it, mate. Sounds like you've got a bit of work to do. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm not totally convinced, but what have you got to lose? What's happening at the moment? How do you think you can make this situation better for yourself? Okay, I'll go and have a look.